Hi, so this next lecture now we are going to talk about body weight and some amount of functional movements, okay, functional training what is sometimes called. Now the term functional, before we move on to body weight, functional training would be something different. It's something very sort of cool. You take certain equipment, you do some moves, single leg going this way, something which is different to the norm. Functional is basically what? Your strength can be functional. Muscle endurance can be functional. Okay. Stability can be functional. Power can be functional. If there's somebody who's, let's say, doing weightlifting, what does that imply? The weightlifter who's there is able to lift weights, move fast. Okay. Or somebody who's doing plyometrics for the upper body and lower body, that person is able to jump fast, move fast. That becomes functional in a sense that it will help the athlete now move faster, because we are teaching the muscle to contract. We are teaching those joints to work in a certain pattern where they are fast or where they are strong, and so on and so forth. So to think that, if somebody does maybe basic lifts such as squats, bench presses, these are movements which are done by a lot of probably bodybuilders, general population. To think that that doesn't make you functional is a misnomer. That will help you to build a quality which is required in body for the general population, just to do some endurance. It will help them to become strong in that. Okay, but to think that that will not help them at all in something else is again misnomer. So to give you an example, if somebody is a tennis player, you want them to now serve better. Okay, you strengthen their shoulders, you strengthen their bicep, you strengthen their forearms, you strengthen their core, and so on and so forth. It is going to help them to do their tennis serve better. Okay, it's not that they have to do a movement in the gym where they take maybe a ball or something and then sort of go up and do an action, only then it will help. No, then you are doing sort of the movement which is trying to be mimicked of the sport. So that is an option. But to think that any shoulder work or any sort of arm work will not help, okay, this is where the mistake is. Okay, and that's why you see people who have sport. Okay, I'll give you this example. This should make you think. If there's a badminton player who is able to certain different shots, now that badminton player is able to do that. Why? Because they have been practicing. So if Varun, if you show a smash and tap action just from here, just a few steps, you smash mid court and then you move, and then again once again. Okay, if you can do now a forehand, backhand, so you play a shot and just move. Okay, okay, stop. Good. I can see these moves that hit. Okay. Can somebody who does so-called functional training in the gym, we just give them the racket and say, okay, do it. Now, Varun has been playing badminton for many years. He's been, playing competitive badminton as well. He's, of course, a strength and conditioning specialist as well. He's qualified. Now, after all this, let's assume I have not played badminton, and this should make you think, can I do these movements efficiently if I'm given a racket and if I'm doing this sort of very so-called functional exercises? These are questions you have to ask. You don't improve just because you sort of learned that, okay, this is functional. You do some fancy exercise in the gym. If I make somebody take this and do a sort of twist with a cable and this and so on, and then I think that, oh, I'm doing functional exercise. So now let's take a racket, go and then jump because I'm functional. It doesn't work like that. Okay. If you are doing functional exercises, which you call functional in the gym, then you're functional for gym. If you are doing sport, your strength you build will help this part. Okay. You don't have to think that you have to do something which is specific and then only it will help for sport. Of course, if you do some multiplanar movements, you do movements which are more front and plane dominant, it can help. But understand this aspect. Functional training is not some set of exercises which look cool, where you maybe crawl on the floor, where you do certain moves which are sort of placed in this direction, and you take a medicine ball and do twists and think that, oh, that's going to help me hit a smash or hit a backhand. You should be able to do a backhand and should have the skill, and then you'll be able to hit that. Okay. So hope that clears out, the idea of what is functional. And some of the misconceptions I'll show you about functional exercises. There's this thing here, we'll just have to be careful. Okay. So, if we are doing functional exercise, a common misconception I'll tell you, where people think, functional exercise is like just about taking a medicine ball and then doing rotational. So, Varun, if you can go into a lunge. Now, we don't have a medicine ball here, but imagine he's got a medicine ball in his hand. So, people think this is pretty functional. From here, what you do, you'd rotate, right, side to side. So, now they think, oh, he's in a sort of, sagittal plane, and now look, transverse. Great, so functional, because when he hits a shot, he goes into transverse, right? So, okay, stop. Now, this, if there's a medicine ball here, okay, and I've explained this elsewhere also in one of the lectures, medicine ball is going down, okay, gravity is pulling down. What is keeping it up? His anterior deltoid, his biceps, are stabilizing here and keeping it up. The ball though is pulling down. So, what's working? The anterior deltoid. Is his obliques sort of firing in any way here? No. He can turn, that's voluntary, okay, but the load is still here. It's like me pushing down. What's working now? The muscles that are keeping it up, okay. Now, if he wants to push this side, okay, where should the force be? There should either be a cable or something, okay, or from this side, whichever side, and then now push my arms. Now, this is where he's working his sides, because he's pushing against, okay. So, if he had to hold a cable, okay, and then his from here, let's say pushing this side now his obliques are coming into play. Now, whether his legs are in a split stance or whatever, that's a different thing, that's a choice, but you have to have resistance on the other side. Another common mistake people think, okay, they take, and it's almost funny to see this, people place a bar on their shoulder, or sometimes a huge Olympic bar. This can actually be risky, okay. They'll place that bar and then they'll rotate, okay, or sometimes they'll place a stick there, and they'll place a stick and they'll just go round and round. Can you just do that move with a sort of imaginary stick, okay, and they just rotate? This is functional, okay. Now, relax. Now, sometimes what happens as he's doing this, so you can keep your hands up. Sometimes what people do is they'll put a bar here, okay, a bar, because a stick is light. How do we make it more functional? People, let's put a bar now, 20 kilo bar, okay. Where is the bar going? What's the load? It's down towards gravity. Now, if I do this or anything, it doesn't make any difference. Hope this is very clear for you all to understand. It could be a 20 kilo bar, it could be a 100 kilo bar. It makes no difference when he's rotating, because the weight is going downwards, okay. You have to apply force in the opposite direction of the load. So, the load is here, his force is upwards, okay. Because it is this part where, he's sort of letting the weight on his shoulder and think that, oh, 20 kilos, let's improve this. How do we make it harder? We make it now 60 kilos. It makes no difference. You're just compressing your spine. Worse, what happens is with these heavy bars, when people do and they twist, even with a stick, they start going fast. The chance of you doing some damage to your lumbar region because of that sharp movement and fast, that is much higher. And you're swinging. Now, the momentum of the bar, because it's heavy, you're already committed, you'll go here. You'll go much further with a bar because of the momentum. Okay, you won't be able to control a bar. Got it? So, these are important things to understand. Okay, just to give you another last example, should help you understand what is functional training and why some of these movements which look fancy don't make sense. Now, if, for example, we say transverse move, okay, there's, in the transverse plane, you do say an exercise with the arms, elbow flexion. And if I make him do an elbow flexion where he's got a dumbbell, okay, let's say I give him a dumbbell. Now, normally how are dumbbell bicep curls done? You're doing here, elbow flexion. What if I say, oh, let's make this into transverse plane, because I've heard functional training has to be done in a transverse plane to keep his, great exercise, isn't it? Now, you should be able to figure out this is useless, because what's happening, his deltoid is working. You could do this all day long, okay. There's no load here against, okay. So, this is one example. One more, very common, people make these mistakes. And if you are one of those, you should understand why you should not do this. internal external rotation. Okay, people what they do is give somebody a dumbbell. So if let's say Varun's holding a 5 kilo dumbbell here, what's happening? The dumbbell is pushing down. He is resisting, which is the muscle that's working. Okay, the bicep. Okay, the bicep brachii working isometrically. So it's working. Are you wanting to train that? Internal rotators or internal? You know, are you working the subscapularis here? Or wanting to work this group? What is it that you want to work? First, find out the muscle, where the muscle has. Okay, so in this case, it's your bicep. You could take 2 kilos, 3 kilos, 5 kilos. You do this. Good luck to you. Okay, and you see people doing this, and it's actually sad. You know, they waste so much time in things which, in fact, might make the bicep more tighter, because you're holding a dumbbell, which is there, and it's constantly sort of, you know, stressing this muscle, which maybe in your sport you don't need it. You want somebody to be having full range of motion, no doubt. So doing this and thinking that I'm working external and internal, I mean, that's really it is almost amusing to watch people do that. Okay, so understand this aspect. Okay, you want to, if you do any rotational work, there has to be resistance against it, and for that you have to work first through your sagittal plane, your frontal plane, lateral, and then you move on and progress to rotational. Don't, because you know somebody is coming with you, some athlete, don't just put them on rotational because it looks cool. Okay, we're not trying to make, okay, so working around this, or like I said, sticks, be careful. Okay, that actually also shows when you see someone's exercise program and you see a strength coach, you should be able to watch an exercise program and really know what are the benefits of it. And the second thing one should know, when you see somebody else training, whether it's an athlete, you should be also able to check in which phase are they doing. Okay, so if you can do this, it makes you a better coach, also more observation. Okay, but yes, you need to know this. If you don't know this, you're just a lot of times just wasting your time with the athlete, and nobody benefits. In fact, it might do more harm. Like I said, a 20 kilo bar or a 30 kilo, I've seen people put 10 kilos on the side and then they just swing. They think that, oh, now I've really my obliques. Okay, one example, one more I'll give you of dumbbells. Okay, people hold a dumbbell in this hand, dumbbell in this hand. You can stand with your feet slightly wide, and then you do side bends. Okay, and what do? They keep going side to side. Like, oh, they think I'm working my obliques, working this side, I'm working here. Now what? Say 5 kilos, 5 kilos. He goes balance here, right? A counterweight down. This one is pulling. This one's pulling here. So creating a voluntary movement which doesn't serve any purpose. What do you do to make it better? Let the weight be here. Okay. Let this hand be on side. Then he comes up and not halfway. This is another mistake. People stop here. Further. Okay. Again, you stretch. There's load. Use these muscles. Teach people to use these. Breathe in. Contract from here. Breathe in. Contract. Okay. So you want people to be doing these actions with full range. Now, one more mistake that can happen. You move the hip, what's happening? The fulcrum fixed, and then you want him going down. Contract, stretch. Contract, stretch with load. So it's like me holding. Now do it. So there's the resistance. Imagine he's got a weight in his hand and is pulling against it. That's how it works. So these are very common things. We just think that, oh, I'm doing something functional for my side. I'm doing some rotational. Just because you're doing rotational without any resistance doesn't make sense. Okay. So now bodyweight exercises will go through, I'll show you 3 main things which are done. Okay. One for legs, one for core, and one for upper body. So legs is the most base exercise that is done, okay, to sort of improve leg endurance. Squats, okay. So Varun, you'll do around probably 15 or 20 squats. Let's just see how you do, and then we'll try to tell people what they can do to improve. Okay. So try around 15 or 20. So nice and slow, up all the way, nice and slow, up all the way. Stop for a second. Now here what can be done and what should be done, okay, as I'll show it sideways. When he goes down and up, he stops somewhere here. You make your athletes learn to do what's called a neutral pelvic position or what's called the power position. Tuck your tail in. So you want a bit of glute activation by going into what's called a posterior pelvic tilt. So each time there's a squat done and you come up, don't stop here. Okay, you can see I'm still in an anterior pelvic tilt. You come up, finish the position, you complete it. Okay, so glutes are active. Okay, down you go, this is still tight, up, glutes active. So each time you tuck your tail in, activate the glutes. Okay, let's try with that. There you go. Nice. 1, 2, down, breathe in, up, breathe out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Going good. Try around 15 repetitions. How many done so far? 15. Good. So now this becomes the most base version. Okay. Now one more variation of this would be the wall chair. Okay. So now wall chair we would be doing by the wall here. Okay. So let's do the wall chair and show one of the most common exercises. Very easy to do, especially with the youngsters. You know, becomes so easy. So now this as a body weight exercise, it's pretty simple. You basically want to get into a box position. So there he is, feet behind, slightly behind. More. Yep. Now go down. Okay, still lower. Toes straight, both feet parallel to each other. Okay. Yeah, feet pretty good. Yeah, still lower. Now the ideal you want is what I call a tray position. So you go down lower. So we should be able to keep a tray here with some glasses and not fall. Okay. His legs are shaking. Sometimes I take their phone, student's phone, and keep it here. So then they make sure that don't stand. So and they know that they have to do it right. Okay, come up. Yeah. Now when they can't do, okay, and it's very tempting, to make them do, make a fool out of them. Like, oh, come on, do more. And they're like, sir, I can't do. Oh, no, come on, a bit more. That is where your brain shows. Push them for no reason, get hurt, or be sensible and keep them strong for the next day. Okay. So when they start shaking, you should be able to know that, okay, his legs are shaking, he's getting tired. One simple way is ask, okay. So Varun will do that again and I'll ask him and let's find out how long Varun can do, okay. So ready, take your mark, go. So you tell me when it's around 8 out of 10, okay. Now here, you can make them close their eyes. Eyes closed, hands on your hips. You can visualize a match situation if you want. That's something else you can do. Okay. Sometimes I use this to tell them, think of maybe a match going on. Okay, ready? Up, out. So that's around 25. Of course, he's a bit sore, so he's been doing this. Okay. Now, what happens when there's someone who finds this hard to do? Okay. Let's go back, Varun. Once more, we'll tire you. So if he's finding it hard, okay, if there's somebody who can't do it at all, they go down 10 seconds. So get them up, make them do at 45 degrees. So you can see now it's at 45 degrees. Earlier it was 90, right? So things to remember here, shins parallel to the wall, and when he's fully down, upper thigh parallel to the ground, okay? Knees, you want equal distance, just as feet. You don't want this happening, okay? You don't want one side leaning. So this becomes an ideal sort of squat. One more thing you can make it more effective. You can put your hand behind and ask them not to keep a gap. So you push into the wall. Okay, there you go. So that's in, his abs are tight. Okay. Of course, don't hit people unnecessarily, but this also helps to check if their core is active. Okay. So this hands here, visualize. When you're done, come up please. Good. So very simple exercise, good to do. Easy to do, great for building lactic acid tolerance, okay, in sports that require legs to last, a real good exercise. How do we progress now? What would be the simplest way? Put a weight, okay. Now, getting a weight to do, let's say you're making them do these exercises post your badminton practice or tennis on courts. Okay, weights won't be available. And how do you get weights made available for 20 guys, okay, or 20 girls? Not possible. So, how do you make it harder? Get in there, Varun, same position. You can do the 45 degrees, okay. So, once he started, like say, this could be a starting position, then over time they progress to parallel. Once parallel is easy, then you get them up here, but you do a single leg. So, you just lift one heel off, only lift the heel off, that's it. So, then you make them hold 30 seconds. And in ideal situation, what I found is 2 minutes, 3 times. That really works good, okay. So, here he'll hold for 30 seconds, 30, 30, 30. So, you can just change to show harder this way compared to doing double, right. When this becomes easy over time, what do? He goes down and does it, okay. So, now you go down, okay. Now you do single, change, okay. So, this is what 30 seconds is what we are looking at. And then when he is able to do this, relax, you can come up, then is when you move to weights. So, by then he is ready for weights, and once he is able to do weights, then he is in an ideal sense ready for squats. So, this is a progression you can use, okay. So, it's all about how much you want to use your mind into this, how much you want to think. Do you want to just create something and say, okay, everybody run today, do something, or do you want to think about it, okay. So, you've seen the progression there. Simple exercise, very effective, can be done anywhere, pretty tough, okay. What happens if people, what are the wrong things they do? Okay, let's get back. Let's do the wrong variations now, okay. Wrong variations would be where your feet are far behind, okay, and now you go down with your knees coming forward, okay. So, this is one, okay, and you can see unnecessary knee flexion plus load, okay. One more would be they have sliding in front. So, you go and the feet are really far forward, okay. So, you can see the shin, okay, it's not to the ground, okay. So, this is one. One more would be they are doing everything perfect, maybe go back, do it perfect, okay. Do it as perfect as you can, yeah, and now get your knees in. Now, this would be one. The force transfer you can see through the knee joint is not, no, it's going inwards. So, this can be one. Another one can be knees out, okay. So, all these things, okay, up. There are various things, where people do and they sort of, are just doing in a bad position. You have to do exercise with the right technique, okay. You want technique to be perfect so that he or she gets the best out of this. Now, in body weight, we have done squats, we have done now the wall chair, okay. Now, along with wall chair, we will next do, we have done lunges in the gym, okay. But along with that, we can also add things such as a hip thrust on the ground, okay. So, we will just show you how a hip thrust can be done, and that exercise for those who do not have to even do this, you can build up with that first. So, Varun, if you can lie down. So, he is lying down there, okay, feet behind. Okay. Now, first neutralize your pelvis, tuck your tail in, squeeze your glutes, get the hips off, okay, great. Make sure your glutes are engaged. So, this you can make them do 2 minutes, 3 sets. This can be the beginning, okay, even before they can do this. If they don't have any, start with this. What's working here? Quadriceps, gluteals, lower back for stability. It's a great movement, pretty simple, not as hard as a squat because a lot of the body, upper body area is sort of connected. So, the weight of the upper body is not completely on the legs. So, this can be something simple to start off, easy lift, not too bad to be done, okay, pretty safe, good for the back, good for the glutes, which are actually pretty hard muscles to target. So, this can be something which can be almost standard. You find that people can do this easy, then you move there. Now, within this also there can be variations where you move on to single leg, okay, in this. And of course, then we all know that in the gym, you can do a hip thrust with a barbell, which comes into sort of very specific exercises. We haven't covered that in this course, but that is where you'll have to do a proper, obviously, course, for strength and conditioning physically, and then you are able to sort of learn. The scope of teaching all exercises across the board in a gym is just not possible, okay, but we're trying to cover everything, and if you have understood the concepts, you'll understand this can be anything. So, if he's going to, let's say, do hip thrust on a bench in the gym, the body will be higher. The force that he feels and the contraction that he feels, the force that he produces will be much more directly onto the glutes, because he would be pushing on exactly against the load with his glutes if he does. So these are things, if you know how the body works, you'll be able to understand, okay, from all the basics that we've covered in the other lectures. So now hip thrust, here he can move on to wall chair, from wall chair to repetitive squats with weight. From there, where does he move? Finally, ultimately he or she moves on to jumps, okay, plyo. So that becomes the progression for legs. Now, let's look at something for the core. We always talk about core stability, right? So core stability, when somebody is doing, what is it? So let's start with basics. Somebody who's very weak, is not able to do much. What do? They can do crunches, okay? And those crunches in an ideal position, what I found better than this is to do it against a wall, okay? So we'll just do these against a wall just to show. You can do it against a wall, or you can do it by placing your feet on a chair. Okay, and I'll explain the advantage of this compared to regular ones. Yeah, so it can be this, slightly closer, or it can be something where you keep your feet on a chair, okay, of around knee height. So from here, as you can see, pelvis is in a posterior tilt, lower back is pushed against, okay. Moment he push your lower back into the ground, that itself activates the core, okay. And majority of the problems that most athletes and general population have is an anterior tilt. You want to teach them to get into this and produce power. Okay, you want to activate the core, the abdominals, the rectus abdominis, into something where the tilt happens more naturally for them. Okay, this can pull, and gluteals from behind can again sort of push you into that action, okay, into that position. This helps to do it, okay, pretty easily. So here he is. I will just do crunches, normal ones. Make sure your lower back is pushed into the ground. And you breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Make sure here now his head touches the ground. You want full range, light touch, feather touch, out. You want to make it harder, elbows out, okay, yep. And you teach the person to look up at the ceiling. So your head stays in a neutral position, not jerking your head, okay, relax. So now this is one variation. What can we do now next, okay, in this? A simple thing, and I'll explain this and listen carefully, because this makes quite a difference for a lot of players who are in these acceleration type of situations. A very simple move that can be done to improve here, to make this almost twice as effective. You'll, Varun, go up normally. While coming down, you'll hold midway, and then you'll go down and up, okay. So there's a halt in between. Hold, down and up, hold, down and up. So what is this teaching? As is lengthening, there's halt, down, decelerate, down, relax, okay. Now this is one thing which a lot of people don't have. Many people have a lot of concentric power, but they don't have that control. So you add these moves, you add this, and this will help you play against those players, who have that very deceptive game, that jhatka that you get. This will help protect a lot of backs. Many people's backs go off simply because they just don't have that control. They do probably hundreds of crunches, but all these swinging ones, okay. So one is this. A further variation of this, make them hold down and now up as well. So this is almost where you commit to a movement, stop, and still go into concentric, okay. And that is even harder than stopping. What he's done now, if we give an example of something like badminton, this is like going back, stopping, and going back and hitting, right? Now the next one is where he's going forward, and then there's a deceptive shot, you think, but you still commit. So it's like breaks, breaks. Now he's going to do it both ways, back and front as well, okay. So let's do it with one hold in between. Hold, hold. So accelerate, decelerate, accelerate, decelerate, decelerate, okay. So it's like accelerate, brakes. It's basically like a car, okay. Brakes, brakes, got it? So every action, there's sort of this brake. Stop, good, good. You can come up. So something very simple, okay. Something very simple. The exercise is simple. It's just that the position is better than doing it on a ground with your feet down. And why is it? Because when your feet are down, you'll notice a lot of people are in an anterior pelvic tilt and they sort of, just swing up. Worse is when they have their legs straight, okay. Many people will be just lying down, legs sort of, completely straight and going up. Again, back is arched, no point, okay. So, when you do this, okay, make sure you're doing it ideally with your feet up, resting on something. That is one. The second is you can add these progressive holds in between. Okay, they really make a massive difference when you want to sort of stop into a move. Specifically sports like badminton, boxing, where you have to stop, turn, constant this action happening. Martial arts, where you're constantly sort of in this, your core is active. This control, back again, control, boom, get in. This is where the core comes in. This is what we are talking about, stability. Stability has to have some decelerative and accelerative capacities in that. Okay, so you have force, move back. So we've now done this. Which plane was this in? Sagittal plane. Now let's look at something frontal. Okay, let's assume somebody is able to do this for a while. Okay, before we move into, in fact, the sagittal one, before we move into the the side to side, we will actually do something which is much simpler, which is a very common exercise, which is that plank. Okay, so let's do a plank, Varun. Now here he gets into position, tucked in. Okay, activate your glutes, slightly lower so that your shoulder and elbow is in line, knees soft. Yeah, bend your knees a bit more, perfect. So it's a nice plank. Now here, I mean, I do this, you did not do it, but I check sometimes just lightly by touching. It also keeps them aware that some. Okay, so relax, Varun. Now let's say over time they can do maybe 3 sets of 1 minute, okay, or maybe 3 sets of 2 minutes. Up to a certain point, you want to do plank where it's helpful. Where is a plank not helpful? Varun, get into this again. Let's show a bad plank now. Very common, okay. When somebody doesn't neutralize their pelvis, they hang, okay. It's scary to even watch this, okay. And you can take your hip down in here, this arch. And this is just asking for nice back trouble, okay. You want your back to be messed, please do this, okay. I hope you get the joke in that, relax, okay. So that arching, where you just push your butt out and you're hanging there for dear life, or you're doing this, or sometimes doing this, this will be less effective. This will be dangerous, okay. So a correct plank done. Now what do you do once you've mastered the plank? Side plank. Let's show the side plank. The floor is a bit hard, but Varun has strong forearms, so it'll be okay. Okay, so how to look at a plank? If I'm standing here, I should be able to see a straight line. It should appear as if he's just standing. So how to think of a plank is, think as if the person's just standing with his arms out. That's how you want to see it. Okay, so the head is in position, everything. Change at the side if you can do it. Can you do it so that the camera, you can be in line? No, keep your feet there and then head here. Okay, so then people can see what a straight line will be. And do it perfect so everybody knows what's the most perfect plank in the world, and Varun shows it. Okay. Okay, hands can be on the hips. Yeah. And this part you can check the greater trochanter here, this area just points up. Okay. So straight midpoint of the hip is here. You can turn a bit more in. There you go. Okay. Feet on top of the other, nice and tight. Okay. Tuck your tail in slightly and relax. Okay. So again, if it's done very perfect, it's definitely hard. But like I've said earlier, it is this, just this. Okay. What it is not is this. Viewed from the side, it should not look like this. When viewed from the side, it should not look like this. When viewed from the side, it should not look like this. It is nothing but a person standing with their elbows out. That's what a side plank is. Okay. So we've got the frontal plane, sagittal plane movement done with a plank. Side plank, we are doing frontal. Okay. So good lateral strength, right? Now rotational, how do we do? Now on a flow, you can actually do in a way where force is applied through a transverse plane by doing maybe elbow where you go. We've shown this in the gym session where you can actually lift one leg off and so on and so forth, or you can get in there and take one hand. So there's a little bit of pressure. So let me show you. So if I'm in a push-up position, I can be here, okay, and once I'm here, I take one hand up, hold, and I try to minimize this. Of course, it's hard to do for me also, but this, so I want to really put pressure. Now what's happening? My body wants to go here, but I'm holding here, right? So instead of rotate down around 2 seconds, you can see how the hands shake. Okay, so this can be the next progression. Obviously, this requires some amount of arm strength, some amount of hip stability. So take your time before you get to this. Okay, this rotational part, I would say this would be possibly the last one, you know. But where can this help? Throwing a punch. You can see because whole body weight is on my arm. I'm carrying this. Okay, so throwing a punch, it makes a difference. This I can attest to because I've checked a difference when I do punches. This definitely makes a difference. You know, when you throw a punch and that sort of hip comes in from there, it's definitely much easier. Okay, so we've done this. Now for the core, I'll show you a sort of section where there are around 8 exercises which can be done for the back. Some of them which we have done, like the Dhanurasan. Okay, so a whole section where we can do for the lower back and to keep it healthy, and this can really help a lot of general population as well to keep their back strong. Varun, if you can lie down. So now again we're doing something in the sagittal plane, but this is into extension. So first exercise, the most basic, okay, the easiest one to do, okay, can be a T, W and A. So first let's do a T pose, arms out, legs up, body up, hold. Okay, so you can see his lower back muscles will work there, the extensors. Okay, your erector spinae get a good workout in this. Your gluteals also work to an extent. Hamstrings are working isometrically to keep you there. It's a pretty decent exercise. So this can be the first one that can be done, okay, just to master this. And relax. I'm going to do a shorter version, okay. So let's say now he or she has mastered this and then we want to move to the next one. What do we do next? Okay. So he's done T, now we do W, okay. So he gets his elbows next to him. So the letter W. T was the letter T, okay, where the elbows are like this and body straight. Okay, now he does the letter W. Ready? Start. Yes. So the whole aim here is to focus on these muscles. So it's almost like how somebody wants to show their back muscles is this, as if you're trying to not just go back, you're also squeezing these. Okay. Relax. Okay. Now next will be A pose. Okay. So Varun, if you can show the A pose. So A, no, down, arms by your side. Yes. So now what you can see is the arms are closer to the body. Closer they are, easier it is. Okay. So palms facing up. The other way, sorry, I meant to say make a fist and rotate out here. Yeah. You can do a thumbs up position and now just lift them up. Okay. So now you can see the letter A. Squeeze. Okay. So this becomes the third exercise. You can master these gradually and over time ideally be able to do all of them. Okay. So you hold this. This is pretty easy. Hands are close to the body. The long head of the tricep is also working here. Okay. Because, and as they do, you'll notice people sometimes say that the arm's feeling a bit tight, but again a great move. Okay. Relax. How long do you do this? 30 seconds ideally. Well, if you want to, you can even try 1 minute as well. Okay. Now we move on to the harder variations. Okay. The earlier ones we've done TWA where the arms are closer to the body. Now we move to where arms are further away from the axis. Okay. So what's the next one? The Y pose. Okay. So Varun, if you can do the Y. Yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1, start. Now this, when you start, make sure that they are not using their upper traps too much. Okay. Sometimes people start activating this too much and really lifting from there. So make sure you've mastered the basics enough before you progress to this. Okay. Slightly higher arms here. Also in front, both. Yes. And relax. Good. So we'll give him some rest. Then what would be the next one? If it's 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. The next is the Superman. Superman becomes one of the hardest here because the arms are straight ahead. Your rear deltoids are really working to sort of, keep them there. Your upper traps also come into play. And from a lever point of view, if you see a long lever, really furthest away from the point which is grounded down, so it makes it harder. Let's do it, Varun. Arm straight, and you do it like Superman. Think you're like Superman here. Okay, ready, go. Yeah, arms can be as straight as possible. It is pretty hard, but you have to understand this is where you're lengthening and you're strengthening. Okay. There's a nice school program going on close by. Reminds you of school days when you yourself were a student. Relax. Good. So now we've done how many variations? TWA, Y pose, Superman. 5 done. Okay. Now we move to hand the back. What's, if I'm not wrong, called the Shalabhasan. Interlock your fingers. A variation of it, if not exactly that. Yeah. Now come up. Hold. Good. Hands now, you can make it slightly more effective. Lift your hands off the butt. Exactly. Good. Relax. Okay. Now, one more variation Varun will show. Okay. Will be now the Dhanurasan. Okay. So, these all can be variations in one flow you can do. Okay. Ready? Start. So, again, in other videos also I have mentioned a good exercise. Okay. Over time, some people you'll notice will be able to come up, push beyond the comfort levels here. Okay. Relax. Relax for a while, and then last we'll do is the Bhujangasana, the Cobra pose. Okay. This is considered a confidence pose as well, confidence building, because extension is where we tend to get more and more confidence when the spine is able to stand upright. Okay. So, let's do the Bhujangasana, hands next to you below your shoulders, and then just go up. Okay. Yeah. Good. Now, in this, if you want him to be a bit more advanced, lift your hips off the floor. Yeah. And relax. Cool. Okay. Thanks, Varun. You can come up. So, you've seen all these moves, right? Now, sometimes some people will have a lot of extension that's possible for them. Some might not be. Don't force them to do things which they are not comfortable with. Okay. I'll show you one last one now for push-ups, some variations. We all know how push-ups are done. Okay. We've done these in the gym as well. So, just show you the modification, because this is one of those exercises everybody does and everybody seems to make a mistake. Okay. So, I'll just show you different variations. If you can just hold this. So, now push-ups, first thing. When you're doing a push-up, it's nothing but just another bench press done with your body. So, if you're doing push-ups, elbows 45 degrees, that's the ideal. Hands in line with your nipples here. Okay. So, your chest. Okay. Here. So, this is the push you want when you're doing a push-up. Okay. This is an ideal sort of basic push-up. Why don't you want this here? You don't want your shoulder capsule to be in a position where beyond a point it's not allowed. No benefit of it any manner. So, you want it here where the shoulder can move through its range comfortably. Okay. So, that is one. Second thing you want is to focus on the hip. A lot of people, when they do push-ups, they tend to arch their back, okay, and do it like this. You want your core to be active. Okay. And you want to go down with everything, come up with everything. Okay. So, the third point may be feet. Wider it is, easier they are, and which is fine to do at a different time. But when you want it like closer, it becomes hardest. Okay. Hardest because there's only 3 points where you can push from. When it's here, it's 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So, let's just show you. I'll do a push-up and you can just see the technique, and then I'll show you the regression for it. Okay. So, once you're here, okay, how to find the ideal sort of gap. Normally, you can just take a measurement with your hands, 2 palm widths. Okay, generally this works for most people. One here, another one here. Okay, so this is a pretty decent sort of palm width. Legs here, if I'm a beginner, as wide as my hands. Okay, and from here down, up. If I've sort of advanced slightly here, you can see my glutes, tail tucked in, abs tight. Now, what happens if I'm not strong enough? I'm a beginner. Okay. Then you regress this, you make it easier. Knees down on the floor, okay. Now, if this also is not possible, okay, then what do you have to do? You don't do this, okay. You don't do, if you cannot do this, kneeling down, you don't do this. I mean, you see people doing this. Kids, again, what's happening at the elbow joint and the shoulder part? You're actually messing it up. This is of no point, okay, wrong technique, even in the modified one. Obviously, in this becomes horrible for your shoulders, okay. Worse becomes this. People sometimes think this is a push-up. This is not a push-up, okay. So, you have to understand, if you're doing a push-up, do it right, or you don't have to do it. If you cannot do it, what do? You make them do simpler moves, take them to the gym, build shoulder strength, okay. Let them do movements such as, shoulder presses, okay. Let them do movements such as tricep press downs, okay. So, they build strength here, build strength here. If there's a bench press, let them do bench presses. If there's work on their core, work a bit on legs, then you teach them this, so they have some strength. But nobody can just learn push-ups by just trying hard. Wrong push-ups are worse than not doing anything at all, okay, because it will only mess up the knee. So, just understand this most common exercise which is messed up a lot. Not everybody can do a push-up, not everybody has to do a push-up if they cannot do it. So, make it sort of such that, a push-up can be done perfect. If it cannot be done with the core engaged here, okay, then almost there is no point. And no point doing 50 push-ups where you're doing it with your hip out. Again, to show you maybe a wrong technique, people will go here and they'll do this and then they'll call this a push-up. Okay, this is not a push-up. You want a push-up where your chest should be at least within your fist, okay, that range where the chest touches down. And when testing is done, it is done where a fist is kept, and every repetition, your chest has to touch down and your elbows have to bend and then extend fully, okay. So, that's one way. Another way to remind yourself is to touch your nose to the ground. Okay, when you go down, touch your nose and come up. Okay, so from here, you can see, and where do I touch that nose? Very important point, I forgot this earlier, very important. Your head doesn't go between the hands, your head goes here. Your chest goes between the hands, okay, so it's not this, okay. So, check this now how I do, okay. If I'm here, from this position, my nose touches down, up. Either you focus on the nose, okay, or you focus on the chest, okay, chest down, up. But what you don't do is this, okay, from here you go down, up. Now you think you're going down, it's your hip going down, okay. You want this tight. Now, if you can't do much, okay, I can probably do 15, 20 with correct technique max. That's okay. I'm not in some competition to tell people that I'm doing, 100 push-ups. I'm not here to get some brownie points about push-ups. So, remember, what you do it right. If you can't do it, don't do it. Work on other things and build upon your sort of capacity to do more body weight exercises. Okay, hope this lecture has helped. Pay attention, some questions will be coming regarding this. And I hope this makes you all better strength and conditioning coaches. Thank you.